Hello, today in this video, I wanted to pick one of the newest features in Dynamics 365 Business Central called business events and explain business events with a simple example. First of all, what are business events? So business events in D365 Business Central is a mechanism which lets external systems to receive notifications from D365 Business Central. The external systems can then perform additional business actions in response to the business events that Business Central has sent. For example, when a sales order is shipped, then we can notify the customer that the sales order has been shipped through email or SMS and so on. There are several business events that are shipped out of the box with the standard D365 Business Central. So let's check those business events. So if I go to the Power Automate and if I start searching for Business Central, then we will see when a business event occurs. When I select that one, here we can see the environment. So let me select business events demo and event. So when we scroll down on event, we can see the events like customer blocked, customer unblocked, and many more standard business events that Microsoft has shipped out of the box. So we can always customize and create custom business events that are suitable for our requirements. So today, let's check how to create a custom business events in Business Central. So let's take a scenario that in jobs, so we have project manager field on the job card. So let's say whenever a project manager is assigned to a job, we want to notify the project manager that he or she has been assigned as a project manager for so and so job. So for that, we do not have any business events available as of today. So how to create custom business events? So let's go to Visual Studio Code and I have created a project called Project Manager Assigned. And now let's create a code unit. I'm giving it a name as Job Manager Assigned. So here first, I would like to create a business event. So we have the snippet called T event external, which will create external business event. So here we can provide a name. So I'm going to use project manager assigned and the display name as same project manager assigned with spaces. And we can add a description for this. business event like this business event is triggered when a PM is assigned to a job. And the last parameter is category. So for that, I'm creating a enum variable called event category, type enum and event category. So we can extend this event category by adding the new enums, but for now I want to use one of the existing event, like let's say account receivables. So we can create the jobs or projects as a event category, but for now I'm not doing that. So then we have to add some parameters to the procedure or that business event. So in this case, I want to pass the parameters like, for example, job ID, which is a GUID field, and let's say user setup, because that project manager will be coming from user setup. So I want to pass user setup ID, which is also a GUID. And let's say, for example, that's it. So from here, we have to create a procedure and call this business event from that, let's say, event subscriber. So as per our requirement, so we have to call this business event when we assign a PM on the job. So basically, I want to use on after validate of project manager field on job table. So for that, I'm going to use T event subscriber, and I will use table. I will use database and table name as job. And here I will say on after validate event, and I'm going to use the project manager field here. So let's give it a minute to load. Just enter the project manager. So after that, just I'm going to use false on these two. And here I will name it as on after validate of project manager. And here we will have rec, xrec, and current field. So here I want to first get the user setup, record user setup, user setup. And what I will do here is, if not, user setup dot get off rec dot project manager. So basically I want to get the project manager record in user setup and send an email to the email that is mentioned in the user setup. Then if we don't find user setup, I want to exit. If we find, then if rec dot project manager is not equal to blank, then I want to call project manager assigned business event by passing rec dot system ID. So this is the job system ID, and then user setup system ID. Okay, so that's it for now. So let's install this app and see whether we can see this project manager assigned business event in Power Automate or not. So let me install it first. So it got installed. Now go to the Power Automate and create a flow with same Business Central. Select when a Business Central event occurs. Now you can enter the environment business events demo and then event. Now here you can see the project manager assigned event that we have created, and it is coming from the publisher Mohana. So once we select that one, now we can create another action like get record. Okay, so I want to get the email from the user setup. So now if I go and select environment and company and API group, so for example, let's say the standard 2.0 API category, and when I drill down, so here we have all the available table names. So here we don't have user setup table to get the record of that particular project manager. So now we have to create an API to get that table in that Power Automate. So let's go to Visual Studio Code and create a API page. So let's give it a object ID and name it as API user setup API, and source table name is user setup and page type is API. So I want to name API publisher as MPA and API group as business events, and version is 2.0 and entity name is user setup and entity set name user setups. And in the next, let's select the system ID and user ID and email for now, and just click finish. So we got the details, and don't forget to add OData key field as system ID here. So I created the API with these details, and now let's install this app once again. And now we should see this user setups table in the Power Automate. So it is installed. Let's go back and create the flow with same options that we have used earlier. Project manager assigned, new step, search for central and get record, same options. So now here you can see the API category that we have created, MPA slash business event slash version 2.0. So now I'm selecting that category, and now you can see user setups is available here. So here row ID is basically the user setup ID that we are passing while calling the project manager assigned. So if you remember, so these are the two parameters that we are passing in our project manager assigned business event. So now I'm selecting user setup ID here, and from there I will create new, and I will use Outlook. So here we can use Office 365 to send the email, but uh, right now I do not have Office 365 license available. So I will be using my personal Outlook to send email. So here I am selecting send an email, and I have already set up my personal Outlook. So that's why it didn't pop up. Otherwise, it will ask us to enter the sign in details. So now here in the to field, we have to select the email from the user setup, which is get record. So I'm selecting email. So the email will be sent to that user setup email, and the subject as so project assigned, and body you can say you have been assigned as a project manager for. So here we have to provide the job ID and the job name. So right now we do not have those parameters available. So let's add another action to get the project related information. So again, use get records and use the option API category as version 2.0. And here we can use the standard API called projects and row ID. So we can pass the job ID here to get the job information. So once that is done, so we can come here, and then here we can see the get record to, or we can always provide the name for these get records. So as I know, I'm not going to provide. So here I'm using display name as the project name, and then I will use number in the bracket to send the job ID as well, or job code. Now I'm going to save this one. So this is saved. And now if I go to Business Central, and now I have, let's say, this job, new office furniture, and we have project manager here. So right now there is no user setup created. So let's go ahead and create one user setup and provide a email. So I'm providing my same Hotmail email account here, and let me select this one. So now this should trigger the business event and send the information to the Power Automate. And that Power Automate should execute and get the user setup and job information, and it should send an email. So now if we go here, see the Power Automate has been executed. And here if we see, so when a business event occurs, so this project manager assigned business event is executed, and it got information from user setups. So you can see that it returned the user ID admin and email as whatever we mentioned there. And it also got project related information like the number and display name. And finally, it sent email by saying the subject project assigned and the body as you have been assigned as a project manager for the project name new office furniture and the job code as it is. Now, if we go to my email account, so we can see the same email with subject and the body. So this is very nice feature. So as you can see, the business events will be executed and will send information to the external systems. So where we can use those events and process additional processes as per our requirement.